Another very important part of the machine is the thread take-up lever, which is, I will show you a little bit closer, just over here on the machine. So located directly above the presser foot, as you can see the presser foot just over here, and the thread take-up lever is just above the presser foot. It's the part of the machine that pulls the thread from the spool. The spool is just over here, and this part just pulls the thread from the spool. So we'll go through here the machine until here, where you can see the needle plate here, and the needle will help for the thread to go down to the upper thread part where the thread is in the bobbin, or the bobbin in the bobbin case, and that's how the stitches they created the upper thread and the lower thread, they join together. Once it takes it down, and then after lifts the thread up out of the cloth after a stitch has been made. So this part moves up and down when you sew. You can see it, I will show you, it will go down and it will come up. When you start sewing, always start the sewing from the highest position. So this has to be on the highest position, that's the highest position over there. And when you finish a stitch, you again finishing on the highest position. So for example, if you sew and you finish here, make sure you will twist the hand wheel towards you always to bring the thread take-up lever to the highest position. So this means you finished a stitch. So once you start, you have to be on the highest position. Once you finish on the highest position, that means that you finished one stitch. This is really helpful when you start from the highest position, because it will help you that your thread won't bounce around or they don't get pulled out from your needle. You will find the thread cutter just on the side of the machine, just this part here. You can see just a sharp little tiny blade there, so it makes your life easier when you cut your thread during your sewing. I will show you quickly how to use it. It's really easy. Once you would like to cut the thread, you just pull these two threads just a little bit like under the foot and just a little bit like behind like this, and you just bring the thread here to the top and just cut it. As easy as this. It's really sharp. I mean, you can't really hurt yourself because it's nicely covered, but just in case if this breaks down, just make sure that you don't cut yourself. I will talk about the presser foot now a little bit. The presser foot's just placed just over here on the machine. Now I have a, if you see it from the side, I have a special foot on the machine at the moment. Usually you would have just this normal foot on the machine, but I changed it. The reason why I will just leave this here, the reason why I changed it, you will hear about. So you can see just over here from the other side the presser foot area. So the presser foot is used to hold the fabric flat as it is fed through the machine and stitched. Always be sure that your presser foot is on the down position before you start sewing. So now you can see the presser foot is on the up position, but you can just easily put it down. Now your presser foot is down, so you can start the sewing, and then easily you can put it up. Because this is like a really simple machine, I can do this by hand, but on the newer machines you can easily do that. The machine has the setup for it, so you don't have to really do it like manually. So as I mentioned, sewing with the pressure foot in an up position will cause your thread to tangle and your bobbin to jam. The pressure adjustment sets the amount of pressure that the presser foot will exert on the fabric. Downward pressure on the presser foot holds the fabric between the feed dog and the sewing machine foot. So the feed dog's just over here. Let me just quickly come a little bit closer and you will see. So the feed dogs are just over those little like they look like tiny teeth. So if any of you have an idea, or if you figured out if this machine has a pressure adjustment screw or any part of hidden somewhere on the machine, please comment below and let me know, because as I said, I couldn't find it on this one. But other machines, if they have one, you can usually find them here on the side, like a dial or a screw here on the top. So you have like a plus and minus sign, so you can easily change. The reason to change the pressure, you will find that the fabric will slip when the pressure foot is down. Then you need to increase the pressure on the presser foot, turn to a plus sign or a higher number. If the fabric held so tight that the feed dog is unable to move the fabric, decrease the amount of the pressure on the presser foot, turn to a minus sign or to a lower number. There are some cases when you don't have a pressure adjustment availability on your machine and you have to use an alternative option, which is the walking foot, or also called even feed foot. Adjusting the pressure on the presser foot does not always solve the problem. So even sometimes when you adjust the pressure on your presser foot, it doesn't mean that it will solve your problem. Sometimes the fabric is too thin, or sometimes you are sewing with stretchy fabrics like scuba. Even though if you change the pressure on your presser foot, the fabric still will stuck or slip around. It's a really good idea to use a walking foot I just showed you, because the walking foot can make layers of fabric feed evenly under the presser foot. These ones, they come in different shapes or different sizes. I mean, the size is usually the same, but they're coming in different shapes. This one is not a single one. I just ordered this with a bunch of other foods that I will talk about them later. Since I was talking about the pressure foot, I will have to talk about a little bit about the pressure foot lifter as well. Once you turn your machine around, there you go, you will find just on the back of the machine your presser foot lifter. When you push this down, the presser foot is down. When you pull this up, the presser foot is up. Let me show you a little bit closer view. So when you push it down, the presser foot is down. So now you can start sewing. When you pull this up, then the presser foot is up, so you can remove your work from the machine. So when you're sewing thicker fabrics or several layers, this will give you an extra space to place the fabric under the foot before push it down and start sewing. The presser foot can be raised to a higher position for easy positioning of the work. So as I mentioned before, when you actually working with extra layers, and it would be really hard to put it under here because there's not much space there. So when you're working with multiple layers or denim or anything like that, you can just raise it a little bit higher so you have some extra space. Let me show you. This is a normal position, and that's a normal position how it looks like, and I raise it so you will have an extra space. Just raise it a little bit, you push the fabric on there, and then you just put it down and you will start sewing. There is a removable accessory storage coming with the machine, which you will find just here, and it's really easily removable. As I mentioned, you can open this, and there are some things that they came with the machine when I ordered my machine, so I just keep them here. So if you have anything you would like to store it, you can easily store it here, and you can just click it back and click it out. So it's very easy. So I will just keep this on the side over here. You will find the needle plate just over here in this area. The needle plate used on a sewing machine to cover the feed mechanism also allows the needle to pass through and pick up the thread from below. So as you can see, you have like tiny holes over there. When the needle moves, it just passes through and goes down below to pick up the other thread. They are held in place with a couple of screws, one here and another one just over there, so they are nicely in place, you can't really move them. All sewing machines have a needle stitch plate that is set over a machine workplace where the pressure foot and needle are located. One purpose of the plate is to cover the bobbing area of the machine and also to help you to get a great results with all your sewing projects. Some of the machines, I think like most of the machines, they all have this lines set up on the side. These markings help you, and they are there to help you and provide a guide to follow so you can keep your stitching straight and nice. Some of the machines usually include a smaller setting plate that can be removed to access to the bobbing area to replace the thread or clean the machine. So some machines instead here, like here, usually they have like another tiny setting plate so you can change the bobbin. With this one you can change it from the front, so once you open you will see here the bobbin area with this one tangled around because I used it how I shouldn't anyway. So you will find the bobbin case, your bobbin is inside just over there, so when the needle comes down then it will come down. As you see, it's like half picked this thread, so that's how they join together. Amazing. I will just quickly close this up and place it back. Next thing I would like to mention is the reverse sewing lever, which is just over here. You can just see this line, it means back. So this allows you to make stitches backwards. This is an important function because allows you to make stronger stitches and firmer seams. To secure the beginning and the end of the seam, press down the reverse sewing lever, sew a few reverse stitches, release the lever, and the machine will sew forward again. So when you start sewing, you will take 1-2 stitches in a normal forward way, and then you just press this down and you go backwards like a couple of stitches, and when you release it the sewing machine will start sewing again in a normal direction. This will help you to make stronger stitches and it makes your thread to stay on place.